Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Mackenzie, and I'm excited to talk to you about a crucial topic in web development, the use of native HTML elements versus custom elements enhanced with ARIA, or Accessible Rich Internet Applications. Today, we'll discuss how choosing the right markup, whether native HTML or custom elements with ARIA, can significantly impact the accessibility of your web projects. Native HTML elements like button, nav, and input are inherently accessible because they come with built-in semantics and behaviors recognized by browsers and assistive technologies. For instance, the button element is automatically identified as a button by screen readers, and it can be operated using both a mouse and a keyboard without any additional scripting. These elements are designed to handle a wide range of interactions and states, such as focus, click events, and form submissions. They also adapt well to different devices and input methods, which makes them very powerful tools for building accessible web interfaces. There are several key benefits to using native HTML elements. First of all, built-in accessibility. Native elements come with prepackaged with the necessary roles, states, and properties, which makes them immediately accessible without any additional configuration. There's consistency across platforms. Because they're a part of the HTML standard, these elements behave consistently across different browsers and assistive technologies. This uniformity reduces the risk of accessibility issues and provides a predictable user experience. Simpler code. With native elements, you avoid the need for complex scripts and styles to replicate functionality. This simplicity not only makes development easier, but also reduces the likelihood of introducing bugs that could impair accessibility. In essence, native elements allow you to focus on content and design rather than on recreating functionality that the browser already provides. Now let's talk about custom markup and the role of ARIA. ARIA provides a set of attributes that allow you to add accessibility information to elements that don't have it natively. This can be particularly useful for creating complex UI components like custom dropdowns, sliders, or modal dialogues. For example, you can take a simple div and use ARIA attributes like role equals button and ARIA pressed equals true to make it act like a button. However, ARIA should be used cautiously and only when necessary because it requires a much deeper understanding of accessibility principles and design patterns. While ARIA can make custom elements accessible, it does not alter their underlying behavior. You still have to manage things like keyboard interactions, focus management, and state changes manually, which adds complexity to your code. Using custom elements with ARIA introduces several challenges. First of all is the increased complexity. Unlike native elements, custom elements require a significant amount of scripting and testing to ensure they behave correctly across all devices and assistive technologies. There's inconsistent support. ARIA attributes may not be supported consistently across all screen readers and browsers, leading to unpredictable user experiences. And there's a high risk of errors. Misusing ARIA attributes can actually make an element less accessible, creating confusion for users who rely on assistive technologies. For instance, if the ARIA roles and states do not match the intended interaction model, it can lead to a confusing or unusable interface. Because of these challenges, it's important to evaluate whether custom markup is really necessary or if a native element can accomplish the same goal with better accessibility support. ARIA should be used sparingly and strategically. The first rule of ARIA is use native HTML elements first and use ARIA only when absolutely necessary. Situations where ARIA is appropriate include custom components that have no native equivalent, like a complex interactive chart or a specialized menu. Even in these cases, you should ensure that the ARIA attributes you use correctly convey the element's role, state, and properties to assistive technologies. It's also crucial to rigorously test these custom elements using various screen readers and browsers to ensure they work as expected. Remember, ARIA does not fix broken HTML, and misapplying ARIA attributes can lead to a poor user experience. When creating custom interactive elements, it's crucial to ensure they are accessible to all users. This is where the W3C ARIA authoring practices, also known as W3C design patterns, come into play. The W3C design patterns provides standardized guidelines for implementing custom elements like modal dialogues, tabs, and sliders in a way that conform to accessibility standards. These patterns outline the necessary ARIA roles, states, and keyboard interactions required to make these components usable by people with disabilities. For example, if you're building a custom accordion component, the design pattern will specify how to use ARIA roles such as roll equal button and ARIA expanded, as well as how to manage keyboard interactions like tab and enter keys for navigation and toggling sections. By following these patterns, you ensure that your custom elements provide the same level of accessibility as native elements, minimizing the risk of introducing barriers for users relying on assistive technologies. It's important to note that W3C design patterns are not just suggestions, they're well-researched, tested implementations that align with best practices for web accessibility. Implementing them correctly can significantly enhance the usability of your custom components. To get started, you can visit the W3C ARIA Authoring Practices Guide, where you'll find detailed instructions and examples for various interactive elements. This resource is invaluable for developers looking to create accessible, inclusive web experiences. So let's look at a real-world scenario. A custom drop-down menu, instead of using the native select element, a developer might opt for a div with ARIA roles like roll equals listbox and ARIA expanded equals false to create a more visually appealing drop-down. While this might look good visually, it can introduce numerous accessibility issues. For example, without proper keyboard handling, the drop-down might not be able to navigate using the arrow keys, and its state may not be conveyed correctly to screen readers. On the other hand, a native select element inherently supports these interactions and conveys its state, whether it's open or closed, without any additional code. This example demonstrates the importance of leveraging native elements for accessibility whenever possible. So in summary, we should prefer native elements whenever possible. We use them. They're the most reliable way to ensure accessibility, and use ARIA wisely, applying ARIA attributes only when there is no suitable native alternative, ensuring you fully understand the ARIA roles and states that you're using. Follow the W3C design patterns, and when custom elements are necessary, refer to these design patterns to implement them correctly. This ensures your components conform to accessibility standards and best practices. Test rigorously, and you need to always test your components with various assistive technologies like screen readers and on different browsers. This helps catch issues early and ensures a better user experience. If you focus on the user experience, remember that accessibility is ultimately about people. Consider how your choices will impact users with different abilities and strive to provide the best experience for everyone. In conclusion, choosing between HTML elements and custom markup with ARIA is a crucial decision that can greatly impact the accessibility of your web projects. By understanding the strengths and limitations of each approach, we can create web experiences that are not only visually appealing, but also accessible to all users. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.